Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Britballin. I'm your host, Mike McGugan. I'm joined by my wonderful angel of the north, Adam Wilkin. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thanks. How's my little Manchester B doing this week?
You know the script, absolutely buzzing. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Just had a nice knock of golf in the sun, so I can't complain. What about yourself? You been up to much?
Nah, mate. I've got my son up for the holiday, so just chilling out. Really, it's
Evening
all
time,
nice.
mate. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, come on, this is a belting show tonight. This is probably one of the ones that we've been looking forward to the most. We get to show some Lyman love tonight, don't we?
Yeah, get some love for those trenches.
Get
Gotta
some love
love
for
it.
that trench life. So we're going to go live and we're going to be bringing. Obviously, for everyone who's watching now, if you're not watching now or you catch it up and you're going to be in the car tomorrow, you can now catch these on Spotify as a podcast. Adam's been grafting his little balls off this week, haven't you? Putting most of these onto Spotify, haven't you? So
I'm doing my best, mate. I'm doing my best.
You're doing your
We've
best.
done a lot of shows to catch up on, by the way. So yeah, getting them all on Spotify is not an easy task. So if you're listening on
Yeah.
Spotify, thank you, because I'm grafting for this.
Yeah, Adam does that kind of thing. I'm just the pretty face behind it all. And then the second part of it, obviously, if you are watching the show and you do fancy getting involved with what we're doing, we are actively looking for volunteers at the moment. Adam's now got a full-time job, so in the school he's been grafting. You've always had one, but like you're working like
full-time job.
Yeah, like a full-time job where you're not just coaching, so you're like grafting now. I'm grafting.
Yeah.
So we want to kind of continue to grow, but both our misses are not going to be too pleased if we keep grafting the amount we do. So if you do want to get involved, social media, anything, you want to be a host, anything really, feel free to drop us a message and get involved. But as always,
I'll tell you what we need to do though before we introduce the guests.
Go on.
I think we need to, with having the guys in the trenches coming on the show, we need to get the trenches in the background. There we go. I like it. There we go.
That's good. That trench life. I like it.
Right. So since no one's here to actually see us, do we start bringing on some guests?
This is true. It's unfortunate. I reckon. I don't know. My mum might be watching. I think she likes to. Mum and my dad sometimes text me going, "Oh, I seen you on the show this week. It's good to catch up with your life because you never fucking speak to me." So other than that, yeah, let's bring on the most important people, the pretty people, some of the best in the country and beyond, actually, and obviously and a token coach as well, just to boot. So do I get the coach on first, who's the rhyme and reason behind it all, to hopefully give us some stability, and that's Lydon. Welcome to the show, Lydon. How are you doing?
Hi, chaps. I don't think I've ever been called a token coach before, but I'll take
it.
Usually,
it's a very coach-heavy show. Yes, look at that. Mother's watching. Sorry, Adam. You can do the comments. My mother is watching.
You grabbed the comment again there. I warned everyone before the show that there'll be hell on if he keeps touching me comments. So
yeah, it was my mum, wasn't it? Yeah, the only reason you're a token coach is we usually coach heavy on this show, but we're player heavy tonight. So you're our token coach. You're to keep us in check. So
no pressure.
No pressure. So give us a quick elevated picture about Lydon.
Yeah, so I've been playing and coaching for just over 15 years now. Uni level, senior level, been basically all over the Southwest. I was doing GB Youth as well. And now I am assistant head coach at Exeter Demons at the uni, and just been made head coach of Somerset Wyverns. So just had our first session yesterday. So,
oh, nice!
But yeah, loving all things O-line.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's the best. It's the best kind of line. We also have some D linemen, but they don't really count as people. So let's bring on our next offensive lineman because they're more important. So let's bring on James. Next one on. Right from the north. I think you and Adam are sharing the same dial-up connection at the moment, aren't you? Back up in the northeast.
Yeah, well, definitely.
And you was picked on our kind of all-star team after heavy backing from Adam. So there's no pressure here tonight. No pressure here tonight, James.
No pressure.
Don't embarrass us now, James. I'm telling you.
So just for anyone who doesn't know by the accent, and obviously you and Adam share and dial up, where are you from and what team do you play for and position?
I'm from Gateshead. It's near Newcastle. I currently play for the Gateshead Senators. I've played for that for 4 years, and I started off at their junior side. and then just work my way up from there.
Yeah.
Are you playing there next year as well, James?
I am planning on playing there next year as well.
Right, so Vikings, get out of his DMs, right? You've heard it here, right?
I mean, to be fair, the size of James, I'd be in his DMs if he was any closer to Manchester.
I'm not sure they're made either, so that's going to be fun.
So we'll stick on the offensive side of the ball. Thanks for joining us, James, and thanks for all your support in the past couple of weeks with the show. Always a pleasure. We'll stick on the offense. We'll leave defense to last. And I'm really pleased to introduce Keanu. How are you doing, Keanu? Sorry, Adam. You got to bring him on.
Yeah, I do, mate. I do. Just stop clicking when I am, mate. That's all.
Hey guys, how we doing?
I'm very good, mate. I'm really pleased to have you on. Obviously, a bit of an international baller here, aren't we, Keanu, in terms of where you're coming from here?
Yes, I'm coming live from Stockholm right now.
That's the dream, that, isn't it? So that is the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for anyone watching there, I see you're rocking your INS t-shirt representing there.
Yes, sir. Shout out to INS, shout out to Chris, and a little plug. Shout out to Exosuit as well. Shout out to those guys.
I like this.
Yeah. So where am I from? I'm from Leeds.
You're from Leeds, and then so how long have you been playing for, and what position do you play?
Oh my God, I've been playing for 8 years now. Started at the University of Hull, and then I went to Germany and played in Stockholm last season. And I play left tackle.
Left tackle, nice. Well, the second most important position in football after left guard, obviously.
Yes, that's what they say.
100%.
Yeah, I tell everyone I'm a left tackle just so I get paid like one, but I play left guard.
Very nice, very nice.
And then I suppose we may as well move over to defence. A friendly face of the show, friendly face in Britball, lifting the lid wonder, Wayne Drew, but also a very, very good football player. Defensive line though, so is what it is. Yeah, very good, Wayne. How are we doing?
I am very well, thank you. As good as a D lineman can be, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. On a very offense-heavy show. No, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. So, obviously, for this time, it's talking about football because I know you do a lot of the work in mental health, but I suppose one of your biggest talents is how good of a defensive lineman you are.
I'm doing my best. Can always get better. Working my little butt off right now, actually, to try and get better. I was out in the field today doing some hand work and footwork and all the fun stuff, Yeah. So yeah, trying to get better.
Pleasure to have you on. And then finally, last but not least, the self-proclaimed best defensive lineman in the country, your friend and ours, Charles. How are we doing?
Hi everyone. Hello. I'd just like to say, Mike, thanks for bringing me in. Like, I really do appreciate the invite. And secondly, I feel like this joke is going to follow me to my grave, and I think we should stop saying it.
Can I just see this? What in the middle of your talking? Whose pots and pans are kicking off in the background?
Not me for once.
Someone's pots and pans are going, wow, Wayne. Look at Wayne, you can see
Wayne. 100% Wayne.
I'm having a look, and there's no one there.
There's no one there.
Charles, can you do me one favour though?
What do you need? What do you need?
I beg you, please bring us in like you saw on X's and O's. I need it.
Wait,
so the way you used to introduce the show on the X's and O's, your little speech that used to go on.
Oh, come on, no, I can't do that, man. I can't, I'm a very reserved guy now, try to keep myself to myself. But yeah, man, thanks for having me. Honestly, I do appreciate it.
No, it's a pleasure to have you on. We couldn't do a trenches episode. I think me and Charles have locked heads a couple of times. I couldn't think of anyone better to bring on. So from a defensive,
how many times did I win? Huh? Sorry.
Zero. Actually, I think we won the final, so that's all that matters.
I have game film. Okay, it's okay, cool. It's okay.
Yeah. So
you say he's the best defensive. Sorry, you say he's the best defensive lineman in the country. Is that what you said?
He used to. So it's a bit of a joke. Charles used to work for the X's and O's, and he used to say it in. I think he used to say it on the show, didn't it? So
once or twice it was mentioned. Yeah.
It was mentioned. Yeah. It was a by joke of the show.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. It's good to hear.
Keanu's calling him out here. I'm sensing.
I'm not calling anybody out. It's just nice to know who's the best in the country. That's all.
It's me, mate. It's me, right?
I love it. I love it. It's funny. It's actually funny, like because
Did you have that label ready?
No, I didn't. No.
Me and Charles do go way back. So in that Olympians game, me and Charles were nearly fighting at halftime, weren't we?
My money
We
be on
weren't.
Charles.
Stop it. We weren't fighting. It was a good. It was a good game, man. Honestly, it was a good. It was a great game, actually. So,
it was a really good game, actually. No. Me and Charles are both big talkers, so it was good on the field. He's a good, very, very good player. A lot of respect for Charles. So we've just not done a show together, so it was always bottled up between the pair of us, I think. So, I mean, let's get into it. So, obviously, we all play our different positions. You know what? I've not even let Charles give himself an introduction. Charles, tell us who you play for and where you play for.
Who you play for, where you play for. That made sense. Good one.
That's the one. That's what I needed.
You heard the man.
Yeah, so I play for the London Blitz, and I'm an interior defensive lineman. Yeah, that's it.
That's good. Can't argue with that.
3 or 1
Extensive.
Oh, that's a good question. 3 or 1.
So I play. It's a funny story, really, because probably the best defensive lineman in the country plays right next to me. So DJ, so he's a free tech.
Okay.
And I'm the one. When I am chosen to start, I do play one. And
I wish I had the song ready.
But you're naturally more of a 3 tech, though, right?
I'm getting old, Mike. I'm getting old.
Fair point.
Honestly, if I had the song "I Am the One," I would have played that right there. For Spotify listeners, you would have just heard that song because that's getting edited into this.
So we're going to start with a couple of questions. I'm going to let Adam go with the first question. We're going to get into a couple of questions, and it'll be kind of a bit of back and forth. Feel free to jump in and jump out at any point, lads. It's a pleasure to have you all on. So we're just going to talk trenches, but I'll let Adam go first.
I'm going to start off with a really controversial question for everyone. What is more important, handwork or footwork?
Footwork. It's not even a question. Yeah, footwork.
Yeah, built from the ground up.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all offensive guys seeing footwork, yeah? What about the D guys? What are you guys seeing?
Footwork.
Oh,
I'd say it's that first step that really counts. I mean, like beating the offensive lineman to the punch. So I'd say it's definitely footwork. I mean, your hands are out there anyway. Like the longer you the longer you play, the more you realize if you don't have good footwork, you're not beating the better offensive lineman. You're just not.
Your hands are pointless if your feet aren't putting you in the right place.
Yeah,
100%.
Good answer.
I'd be interested to hear Wayne's thoughts on this. I mean, he's quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of them play massive parts, and I don't think it's as easy as saying, it's one or the other. I mean, obviously, I appreciate that was the question, but I feel like it's way too difficult to say, feet and
damn it, Wayne,
pick one. Because if you've got one, because I mean, I feel like if you've got really good hands but your feet are sloppy, I don't know. I feel like the bull and jerk, for example, push pull move, you can do a sloppy push pull as long as you're strong and you've got good hands. You know what I mean? But obviously, feet are overwhelmingly important. You've got to have your fluid hips. You need to be able to get into space. You need to get be able to get skinny. I don't know.
Without your feet, you can't get out of your stance.
Yeah.
Without your hands, you can't get into your stance either. I mean, it's
that's true.
Look at it.
2 point stance.
Go from a 2-point stance as an edge.
Yeah, but I suppose as a 2-point stance, as an offensive lineman, I'm just seeing big open ribs for that. I'm happy. Anyone wants to go in a 2-point stance, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's a toughie, to be honest.
I think what Wayne said about the fluidity in the hips. So that's something I've been working on in the off season for this whole year. So it's effectively a chain, isn't it? Like it goes from your from your feet to your midsection to your hands, but exactly angles. I mean, again, like without like Wayne said, we even missed out the hips. Like hips are very important. Stiff hips don't eat. Like without hips, your footwork, your handwork, it's nothing, is it? So Yeah.
I think that's exactly it. And anyone who's done any sort of martial arts, so, anyone who knows how to actually throw a punch knows everything comes from the feet down. You screw your toe, you twist your knee, your hips go, and then your shoulder releases. So it's any sort of big movement like that. It's a chain, exactly as CJ said. You can't have one without the other. And I don't know. It's you've got to have the whole shebang. You've got to work on the full chain without any sort of weakness in there is going to be highlighted otherwise.
See, I love asking that question, right? So this is one of the things I always ask when I get like a load of guys that play the same position, a load of coaches together that coach O and D line, and I'll just be like, you're just sitting in the bar having a little drink, and then you just go, oh, so what's more important, hands or footwork? And then, honestly, that's why the handbags at the ready one was there, because I thought it was all gonna kick off. I'm not gonna lie. But no, I like the way that everyone put that. So it was
and that label had to come in even earlier than you expected.
It did. It came in earlier. Yeah. Just
start doesn't mean to go on.
I love it. Be aggressive.
It's a great point. To be fair, because I think as an offensive lineman, if you get your feet in the right place and you can get your body in the right position, I genuinely believe maybe you wouldn't do it, but you could block it with your hands behind your back, couldn't you? As long as you
definitely could. If you get your feet in the right place, your hips are in the right place, then you can do a lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because actually, as an offensive lineman, I find if you give your hands to any decent defensive lineman, that's half the battle lost. Is not giving your hands. So, one of my favorite moves against people probably Wayne, a bit more speed, is give my hands early, but bring them back so I can see where his hands are going and kind of replace that. Because I want to fake my hands out, give him them because I want to see where his hands are coming, and then that's kind of that second battle which you get after the first two steps.
Yeah, if you put, on the O-line, if you put Harry High Hands against a defensive lineman, Tony Two Shoes is always going to win. Feet, right? So you're coming from.
Yeah,
you got it.
100%,
yeah.
This is true, yeah. And James, you've been awfully quiet there, so I'm going to put it on you. Hands or feet?
Feet, footwork.
Feet and footwork. Yeah, no, completely agree. Yeah, I think it's like you said, from an offensive line perspective, I think feet and body work, and I think the biggest one is angles. It's easier to block half a man, isn't it, than block a man full on and do with the headbutts or whatever. My question really was going to be to everyone: what's the fundamentally the most important thing you feel in your point of the game to be working on right now? So, for me personally, I'm working on sideways movement. So that's moving to the side, making sure I can get side to side as quickly as I can get forward and backwards. So I'm all right, 4 or 5 yards. I think it's one of the underrated uses of an offensive lineman is the ability to move sideways. Because we do that an awful lot. So yeah, that's for me. What about yourselves? Fundamentally, what are you guys working on, or coach? What are you kind of getting your guys' work on this year?
Flexibility, 100%. If you can't move, you might be able to go side to side, but if you've got something that is holding you up or something that's wrong in your movement patterns, then that's just going to ruin everything. So you've got to go right back to the absolute basics of movement. If you've got any deficiencies or any injuries and things like that, you've got to go all the way back to that, because if you can't move, it's going to either cause other problems or you're not going to be as efficient as you can be.
I hear that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Flexibility is massively overlooked. Absolutely. Well, flexibility and mobility, I suppose.
Yeah, about the same. Mobility more so than flexibility. Looking for.
I've realised that being a bigger guy, you definitely need to stretch. Definitely need a flexibility. Because otherwise, them quick people on that edge are just going to hit you every time. And you're not going to see them.
Yeah, it's not like being in the middle where you can just hold and hope for the best. You've got a bit more on an island out on the tackle.
Was that a public announcement that there's some holding going on in the middle?
Would you do the entire offensive line? I know the entire game is holding, just not getting caught.
Yeah, everyone knows you could literally throw a flag every play, and someone would be like, "Fair enough." That's
a fair point. Yeah, legit inside, it's a bit more brutal. I do like a little cut block. I know Charles isn't a fan of him, but I do love a cheeky cut block.
Was it you that did it to me?
That's why we were scrapping.
I think I went flying, didn't I? Oh my god!
Yeah.
I went flying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the video of that.
Clip it in.
It's the only clip from that game he showed us, but yeah, I've seen the video.
So I think Coach said flexibility. I've sort of been doing a lot of conditioning actually, because with the announcement of the season coming back, I didn't want to sort of give my team like I'll never be who I was a year ago, like today, like not right now. So what I've sort of been working on is I've sort of been doing an all-round thing. So flexibility, footwork, handwork, that sort of everything. I work with a couple of them, like professionals. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to disclose which group I work with, but I'll ask them if I can mention them. But yeah, so I've been working with them, and I've just been doing a lot of different things. Like, I mean, 6 weeks in, week 6, I could get in and out of a 3-point stance easily. Like, my hips were definitely more fluid. My footwork was making sense. Like, my handwork, it was all muscle memory. So I didn't really want to go back to my team and give them like nothing. Like, do you know where I'm coming from? Like back to basics. I didn't want that. I wanted to go back in and be like, okay, like I've been working. Like, this is where I am right now. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I've been, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, and the next question I had it's probably going to be a similar answer. But what do you think separates? Because look, I'll be honest, there's some very, very good players on this call, and what do you think is that?
He's a good coach as well, mate. Like, no, I'll not leave you out, mate.
No, but I mean,
I'm just here as a token, remember. So
when you see the question, you'll understand what I mean by it. What do you think separates, the kind of the not so skilled linemen to the elite linemen? What, from a defensive lineman perspective, what are you seeing in an offensive lineman where this is going to be a tough day? And then from an offensive lineman, what are you seeing when someone's got your number sometimes? What is it you're witnessing in them where you identify as just a key trait? I mean, for me, it's always just killer speed.
Right. So in the semi-finals a couple years ago, I'm going to be really quick. So I had a really easy game until somebody called David Pemberton. I think he's number 70, and he plays for Tamworth Phoenix. Now, I was very lucky. I was extremely lucky that he had broken his ankle, because he only came on for like 2 or 3 plays. And in those 2 and 3 plays, like, he made my life a living hell. Like, I just did not understand how someone so big could move so fast and beat me to the punch.
Yeah, it got scored.
Like, yeah. So it's probably one of the best defensive linemen I've ever played against. And it's very scary that he could do that coming off of an injury.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm sort of afraid of. Like, that lineman, like, it's just that controlled explosion. It's not like a defensive explosion. It's more like of a controlled speed, and like knowing when to initiate your hands, knowing where the placement is. Like, when offensive linemen get that right and stay at that like sort of mid-level, that midsection, and can get their hands on you, there is literally nothing you can do, and it's very worrying. Yeah. So that's my biggest fear from an offensive lineman. And I think that's what separates like the best from the okay.
I think it's a little bit the same on defensive linemen from playing. Like, if you've got size and speed, that's just horrendous. I think one of my favourite football memories is watching Tony McKenzie play in a preseason game. And bear in mind, he hadn't played for a long time either and was way out of shape. But to be playing, basically being twice the size of me, and I saw him, ball was snapped, he reached through, grabbed the QB before he could get away from being under centre, was ridiculous. I've never seen someone that size move that quickly. It was ridiculous.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's actually crazy. For me, is a pass rusher with a lot of moves. When he can rip, when he can swim, when he can come inside, when he can spin it, and he can do it effectively, that's something then you have to be on your game for. Do you know what I mean? Like, if a guy only has 1-2 moves, it's like, okay, he's going to try rip, or he's going to try spin one time, and then catch him and he won't spin again. But if he has a lot of moves, he got good hand fighting, it's fast and it's strong, then there's going to be a fun game. For sure.
Well, in training, when I can't even remember how long ago it was, But last time we were allowed to train, I went up against James when we were doing basically like a hand drill. And I tried to club his arm out of the way. So I've clubbed his arm in his hand. But right, if anyone's seen a picture of me and James, right, I'll put one on the page sometime.
Oh, you love this.
James, right, I'm 5'10" tops, right? James, how tall are you?
6'6.5".
Right, so he's massive. Yeah, so it does matter, mate. So I've clubbed his arms away, demonstrating it. And I went, oh, hey, what the hell is that? Like, his arms are like my legs, by the way, right? So that's just for people watching. End up having to go to hospital, and I broke my wrist going up against him. So when people think size doesn't matter, friggin' does, because I broke my wrist, right? So I'm just putting that out there.
You were trying to do it.
I've never had so many, I'm sorry, coach, texts in my life, because he didn't even do it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been anyone who can be, a defensive lineman who can get to the hip. And what I mean by that is break that line of scrimmage and get to your hip. Wayne's probably one of the best I've played against at that. It's really about staying low and getting past the hip. As soon as because as an offensive lineman, that's where I'm working on my sideward movement and getting in backwards and hinging a little bit. If I can get someone who's back there, it's hard for me to rotate and get into that block as such, because you're almost chasing at all points. So
would you say going sideways? What exactly do you mean? Like, you mean laterally setting, or as in side to side, and like a very quick protection, or do you mean like in your pass set going lateral? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I think for me it's just So once you obviously in pass protection, once you get down into your, let's say you go 3 steps, into your, your pass protection, into your set, and then it's that movement to the side. If they do pop the move to the side, so it's transferring my weight from backwards to then hitting to the side, if that makes sense.
Oh, to inside, you mean? Yeah.
So in or outside, because for me, because I'm a fairly big guy, I'm never really going to get bull rushed. Okay. I'm always going to get someone trying to dip and move to the side of me. Okay. So it's a case, when they take that hard step and then come across you or whatever that might be, or they dip and rip low underneath your arms. Yeah. So it's obviously you've got to get sideways then, haven't you, to then redistribute your weight to get the half man and get them, at least stuck at the point of impact.
I mean, on the flip side of that, I would say anyone who has that ability as a big guy to be able to shift laterally swiftly, as you've described, I think that's obviously a killer. And for anyone who does rely, heavily on speed, then obviously coming up against that is gonna be a tough day in the office. So I think it sounds like you're working on a place where you could be incredibly effective.
Mine's also the same. Go on.
No, carry on, mate. Go for it.
Mine's also the same. Getting outside in your pass set. I'm all right inside. It's anything outside, Mike, where I'm struggling with. Like, someone's dead quick and he's just ripping us off the edge. I can't get around in time because I've got that much weight to, feel around. But
how much do you weigh?
At the moment, I'm 24 stone.
That's heavy, man.
Big guy. I haven't been going on the lockdown jogs. So
how much is that in kilos?
150 maybe.
A lot.
It's like 155, 150. It's a lot.
Cool. I'm about there as well. Yeah, I'm about there as well. So well done.
Yeah, you can pull up your own body though. I've seen you working. I don't watch.
So I mean, if you've got guys like yourselves, as you said, big guys being able to actually move laterally in a good manner, and if you've got good hands as well, it's
we can't see that.
Yeah,
154 kilo, 152.
I mean, another thing I think is really important is obviously, football IQ, knowing when to leave a guy, letting them, go off on their own. And, if someone's, clearly looked at film and they know what to expect, it doesn't matter where you're watching it. It could be, I don't know, your iPad, your mobile phone, Tamagotchi, whatever, wherever you're watching it, as long as you're watching it, and you know what to come up against. I think that's a massive thing that I feel like a lot of people overlook and think they can just get away by out-athleting people. And that's something I definitely 100% did do. Particularly in my early days, I was just there, just out-athleting people. And, I came up short and realised, to take that next step, you got to get technical. You got to understand what the guy in front of you is trying to achieve and know what that person specifically does. So if a guy's quick setting, I know I'm going to have to use a different move to a guy who drops back quite quite far.
Yeah. So
having that know-how.
So I learned that from going from like junior being like the biggest fish in the pond.
Yeah.
Like Edinburgh Wolves offensive line, brand new, 18, 19 I was, thinking I was the 8, and I was getting put on the floor every single player because I thought
that must be
bully these guys are out, but nah.
Yeah, so I mean, right there and then, as a big dude who's come up and, you know, as you say, been bullying people for fun, to then go into a position of, you know, having your ass kicked, that's a big mental shift that you have to make, right?
I'd say that's one of the toughest things I always see. I mean, I see a lot of the guys coming out of Filton, and this is no disrespect. I'm very solemn do you see someone making that elite level step from the junior and even students to a degree to then going and competing at the high level at senior, because I just think there's something like at senior you are dealing with different guys. Like you're dealing with blokes like who are heavy hands, fundamentally have known it and played it. And I've got a theory where I believe you can beat players with scheme more than necessarily. You know, I know I've beaten better players than me by knowing my scheme and knowing their tendencies a lot more than just them being a better athlete than me.
Also, your scheme should make your job easier for your players. So I've seen people where they've over schemed, like with protection especially, like where they've just made it too complicated, and then you've got thinking time added to reaction time. Just keep it simple. Like get more effective usage out of your players by just keeping it simple and effective.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Just we've had David come back into the comments there and saying thank you. He doesn't know what was said, so I'll just let you know, David. Now there was lots of nice things said, and you can listen back on Spotify tomorrow. So go back and watch it.
A lot of time for that.
We've had a question come in from Sean here. I'm going to aim this at coach if that's all right, Lydon. Do you think the D line is undercoached compared to the O line in Britball? Do you think we give a bit more favour to that O line?
I think they're both criminally undercoached, if I'm entirely honest. It's so much of a case of, you're a big guy, just go hit someone, and that bugs the shit out of me. Because as much as I don't like to give props to the other side, they are both highly technical, and it's unnatural movements for a lot of people.
Yeah,
like
same arm, same leg.
Yeah,
no one walks like that, do they?
Exactly. It's especially when you've got, and I hate to isolate some people here, but when you've got people that maybe played or coached in the 80s and they're like, oh yeah, you just block people like this. I was like, no, things have moved on. We need to progress things a little bit. Or that person that did their level 1 15 years ago and doesn't want to retake it because they think they're amazing. So I think the stuff's out there. If you want to learn it, the information. That's the great thing about now is there's so much information. But you've got to put your time in to invest in yourself as a coach to make your players better.
Have you moved on to like teaching the whole tip of the spear program that Bafgan things are running now, or are you staying with what you already know?
Right. How can I put this politically? The good chunk of the tip of the spear stuff I agree with. It's strangely very similar to the Charles Bentley stuff. Which came before that, which I very much love. I went to the clinic that he did over here like 5 years ago, and it was the best weekend of my life. I went on my level 2, not last year, the year before, whatever it was, and there was some stuff that just I wasn't quite sure about, and thought maybe there's some good stuff from the tip of the spear. There's some not so good stuff. So we actually had a focus group. So we got a lot of airline coaches in the UK together. There's a good sort of 5 or 6 of us, and we sort of just had a day, just sat around, talked through it, and go, well, we can use this bit of this and this bit of this, and rewrote all the sort of BAFCA guidance for level 1 and level 2. So it should be less kind of out of the box now and a bit more. Yeah. So that was, a lot of it's come from sort of Gavin Collins, who coached me originally. He sort of opened my eyes to O-line. So I've got to give him a shout out also because I know he's listening as well.
Shout out to Gav.
So I think there's more resource now, and I don't think there is a complete sort of out of the box works for everyone. You've got to tailor stuff, pick bits up here and there, because we're not dealing with NCAA athletes, etc. You just sort of pick up bits here and there and use them to improve your players. But yeah, I think it's a good basis, and I get why they use Tip of the Spear, because they had all the videos and everything. But I think the stuff that hopefully we put together should be more useful on the going forwards on the new courses.
I've got a good picking up that question then for Wayne and Keanu. I know have both played in Europe, and Keanu does. How do you notice the difference coaching wise in Europe than you do in Britain? Because I noticed when Wayne came back, you're a different player. What do you guys notice the key difference?
Wayne, you go first.
So I feel like in my experience, again, obviously everyone's gonna have their own experience. I had a lot more coaches at the teams I played at. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had some bad coaches in the UK, and I've also been very fortunate to have some very good coaches in the UK also. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like the organisation as a whole is massively different in that the coaches literally coach. And there's a whole back team, the back staff who run everything. So your coaches are there literally to just coach. Whereas in the UK, you have coaches who are doing the whole thing. So I feel like there's just a lot more emphasis on coaching, given the fact that, it's understandable that if they've got time to focus more on coaching, then they're going to focus more on coaching, right? Obviously, as you've said, Mike, I came back better. I think a lot of that also comes down to playing against other players of a higher caliber also, which, makes a lot of sense. But yeah, there are some great, absolutely fantastic coaches in the UK, and I don't think people want to misinterpret, what I think of playing outside of the UK compared to the UK. Because you've got to, if you can find the good coaches, there really are some really good coaches. However, when I first started, I was taught to headbutt for the first 4 years of playing, so there were also some not so good coaches. So it's, I feel like the disparity in the caliber of coaches here is far greater. Whereas I feel like in the UK we got this sort of amount range, whereas out there everyone's of the higher range, but the range isn't as significant. If that makes sense.
I think I agree. I think all the CPD stuff and everything that BAFCA are doing is going the right way.
Absolutely.
It's just taking time to sort of get through, because I think people should be going to the convention. But that's basically my holiday for the year, is going to BAFCA convention. But yeah, you should be trying to improve yourself. Like the stuff changes so quickly. There's always something new you can learn.
Yeah.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say at the elite level in Europe, do you notice there's severe difference in coaching? Do you pick up things differently? Because you went to the CFL combined, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And I've seen you just mauling guys even at that level. So there's obviously a difference in which. Sorry, Wayne, because you might be one of those guys. But yeah, no, I'm sure it's 50-50. But no, I did.
No comment.
No, I did notice.
Where's my guy? Where's my guy, man?
No, because I noticed, I saw your helmet was different, and I was watching it, and I noticed your technique looked far superior to the other guys, who I would say. And that's just my opinion. Again, I'm entitled to it. I could just see that was better coaching. And I know guys who came back from Finland, and they just move different. I don't know what it is. They just break things down to a different degree, and they just, move different.
For me, in Europe, there's three major things. The coaching is definitely better. Like my offensive line coach in Hildesheim taught me so much about playing the defensive line position. It's actually crazy. Like I went there, I didn't know what a post step was, and then when I came back, it was like my mind was opened. There's high caliber players out there. Like there's a lot of talent in Europe. I don't know about Finland, but last year in Finland was crazy. But last year in Finland was absolutely crazy. But last time I played in the GFL in 19, there was a lot of talent over there. So I guess iron sharpens iron. If you're not good enough, then then you get cut. Essentially, if you're not doing things for the team, then it can be a bit ruthless. So you have to get better. And what was number 3? Oh yeah, the schemes as well. I would say more advanced as well. I had to learn a lot in my first year, like different protections, different schemes, different plays. Understand like safety rotation now. Like it's funny to talk about. Understand if safety comes down the box, then what protection we might have to shift to.
And also being an offensive lineman, you can start to work, because that was again one of the guys who came back from Finland. Johnny was starting to teach me. He showed me some clips and stuff where the safeties are can often change your blocking scheme, because obviously there's only a certain amount of places they can be in where the safeties are in certain positions where the blitz has to be X because the safety's in this position, or if the roll in the cover still left, that outside linebacker's blitzing or whatever that may be. So
exactly.
And that's where I talk about knowing scheme, I think, can win half that battle. So a lot of the time we can read that and we'll call a Tokyo, which is our slide call. And just by knowing that, and just giving Wayne, we'll have to change that shit. We know that the outside linebacker's coming on a blitz.
What did you say your slide call was there?
Well, it's Tokyo. It's all our calls are very literally make sense. So Tokyo drift. Tokyo drift, so we slide out.
Ours is the Toshiba Tamagotchi to get out.
That's a lot of words.
It's Toshiba one with Tamagotchi the other.
Especially with the gum shield.
Yeah, get that one out. No, but that's what I mean. So I think sometimes knowing scheme is genuinely half the battle. But for you guys, and again, lining for what you give you guys, what's one of the things that is very, there's been a few comments about, and we joke that we are the grunts and we put in the hard work. What's your top tip for recovery? What do you do which you believe kind of works? Like for me, religiously, it's a swim. Monday morning, Thursday morning, I go for that's my thing. And then I'll do some hot cold treatment. So I'll go in the sauna and jump in the ice bath. That's my thing where I feel like that, but that's just me. Have you guys got any top tips for recovery?
I actually have my heaviest day of lifting the day after the game.
All right. Okay.
So Saturday, I'm lifting heavy on the Sunday, so I can get blood flowing back into the muscles and around the joints. And that usually by Monday, Tuesday, I feel pretty good. To be honest. And also, it's given me the longest time to recover. So obviously, we play the Saturdays. So if I lift heavy on Sunday, I've got 6 more days to recover before the next game. But also, I do like the sauna and the cold. That does feel really good. And obviously, physio treatments.
Yeah.
Europe sounds amazing.
Sorry.
Europe sounds amazing.
Depending where you go, it can be really really good. Yeah.
I think for what everyone has at their disposal, I think one of the most essential things is ensuring that you're eating pretty good. So making sure that you're getting a good protein to carb recovery drinking immediately after the game. Ensuring
so what does that look like? What does that look like? Straight up, like, is that
those protein shakes? They look like sick, man. Like that's what they look like.
No, but what I mean by you get a good, not a protein shake, but that carb to.
I mean,
carb to protein.
I tried to get like a gram of protein for every pound of lean body weight I have. Yeah, so I try to get around 250, at least 250, 260 grams of protein a day. Sorry, Wayne, I took over. Carry on.
No, crack on, man. Crack on.
And, carb-wise, on training days, which is basically every day, I do try to have, 600, 700 grams of carbs a day, and then fats is whatever, to be honest. I'm offensive line, I'm heavy, so I can get away with eating different things to defensive linemen, do you know what I mean? Because these guys have to watch the figures a bit more, whereas I can get away with eating a lot of protein, a lot of carbs, and then eating some nicer things.
So I mean, I would say making sure that you're eating well. Obviously, you're looking at replenishing all of the electrolytes that you've obviously sweated out and utilized whilst playing. I'd also say make sure that you are hydrating. That's another thing that I think is overwhelmingly overlooked. For me, also hot cold shower cycling. So I do 3 minutes of a cold shower, as much as I can tolerate. And then I'd do a minute of hot shower, and then I'd cycle out. I'd do 3 cycles of that after a game if there's no ice bath available. And then obviously flexibility and foam rolling, and I have a massage gun. And very recently I bought this little funky little machine, which is a smart TENS machine. It's called PowerDot. I don't work them or anything. I'm not advertising, but yeah, this is something I've recently started using, and yeah, it's been shown to be. I've found it to be really beneficial. But I think the swimming is a massive one. And I remember with the GB team in the Euros in 2018, we all went for a swim and organised by Bev, the physio, a stretch and mobility recovery session. And yeah, it's massively effective. And yeah, I think it's one of the things we just overlook in the UK.
Yeah, recovery is massively overlooked in the UK. We'll on the beers straight away after the game in the UK.
Yeah. In fact, I saw one of the strength and condition. Carry on.
You know, I was just gonna say that beers comment, Keanu. I think it's changing. You know, I don't think I know personally. Really? We don't do that. Like, not anymore. But I think in the UK we are far more focused on getting a right sleep, getting a right recovery now. I think things are actually like, for the past couple of years, things have dramatically changed, and I can see it in the kids as well. Like they're getting younger. First of all, they're getting stronger and more athletic, and it's because I feel like everyone's taking it way more seriously now. So in terms of like the beers thing, I don't think that really happens. I mean, in the Premiership, that's what I see, and in some of the youth programs, that's what I see as well. But again, I can't talk for all teams, but yeah, I think we are taking more care of ourselves.
I think sleep is something that we've yet to highlight. Sleep is a massive thing, absolutely huge, and again overlooked.
I've just been training for the CFL Combine, the virtual thing, and my strength coach put me on a bedtime at 9:15, so I was going to bed at 9:15 every day, waking up at like 7, just so I get enough rest to compete the next day.
Yeah, and I think it's super important because, you know, all of that together. You know, I mentioned I follow kind of a lot of the better players in the UK on Instagram, and I noticed straight away when I was playing Div 1, Div 2, I knew as soon as I went up to the Prem, I couldn't just have the beers after the game and the KFC on the way home. Like, you do have to think, right, I've winged it so far. I need to lose weight. I need to get in better shape. I need to go to bed. I need to, I need to be able to compete with these, because it was against the Olympians, against, Charles and Snowman, like, kind of realised, even though we beat them, Adam. Even though
wait, whoa. I don't even play for them anymore. But wait, whoa. Defensively, come on. How many tackles for losses did I get? Like, you triggered me, man. Yeah, because you couldn't see me. I was that quick. I beat you. That's why.
Wait, I've got an idea. Sorry, I'm not gonna have the thing ticking anymore. There we go. Right, carry on, boys. That's fine.
No, but I suppose one of the things I learned by that game was, those guys do hit different, and they were just playing at Div 1, but are both now kind of Premiership players and Snowman players abroad. So I realised, right, okay, we need to step up. As a team, we needed to, and you need to put in those work.
And Mike, was that something that was then introduced as a team? Did the team then, did that team make that same realisation, or was it just a personal thing?
Yeah, no, that was a personal thing, but I always thought to myself, if I was the biggest guy on the team doing that, I think it wouldn't take a lot of time for other people to start doing that. And it just became a culture of sharing that practice, hitting the gym, working hard. Obviously, lockdown didn't help a lot of it, but you can't not follow people like Charles on Instagram and some of the better players in the UK and go, if they're working that hard, then I have to be working as hard, because if I'm not, when I go up against it, he's already won 1-0 before the game.
I hear that. That's it. Yeah. Get better or get left behind, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that was just my personal development. And that's what I needed to. And then it became a good culture within the Titans. We didn't want to be a Sunday League team, and that was our next step next year. We still believe we were one of the best Sunday League teams in the UK, outside of Tamworth Blitz and Warriors. They're the only guys who, for us, are at that elite level. And the whole team take it serious. So that's just our personal thing. So we had to break those through. But yeah, that's just all personal more than anything.
I'd say like on a budget level for Joe Average that maybe doesn't have the amount to spend, etc., on more expensive recovery stuff, is that a foam roller is probably one of the best investments you can get, because it's probably less than a tenner. They do them in Sports Direct, you know what I mean? Weirdly, one of the things I've come across quite a lot and other people have used is arnica tablets, just the little micro pill ones. It just gets rid of inflammation and things like that. Bruising sort of comes through quicker. You get them from Boots. They're just little sort of mini tabs, but it's all natural, it's all herbal stuff, but it just brings out bruising quicker, recovers quicker.
If we're going to go into supplements and you want to get on that recovery, ZMA is the way to go as well. Pre-bed, get some ZMA in. It's a game changer.
Yeah, and again, just on the cheaper end of stuff, I completely agree with you with the ZMA stuff. But also on a more mid-level to high-level stuff, there's quite a few of these. Almost want to call them like genetic tests now that you can do, like the Mudo ones and things like that. So I did one just because it was buy one get one free on Black Friday, just because I thought it'd be interesting. So me and my wife did it just as a laugh, because we also wanted to see what things our little boy might have picked up genetically in a good way. Okay. So apparently he's like super strong and super fast. So I'm well happy about that. I'm not sure where that's come from, but
the postiness.
Yeah. But he.
I actually thought about saying that and thought, no, it's not for me. That
I was setting you up for it, but yeah, it was more like, apparently I'm really sensitive to caffeine. So like I normally drink a lot of caffeine, and I never really thought it did anything, but something like that, because actually I'm really sensitive to caffeine, and since changing that, it's made my sleep a lot better and things like that. And it's things like I don't process saturated fats very well, so I just started cutting those out, and just really simple stuff like that, and it made such a difference to how you feel and recover.
What did you say the name of that product was again?
It's Mudo, MUHDO. You literally get a little vial thing, spit in it, send it off, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, they send you a whole genetic report.
Oh, that would be the other way with COVID, though, won't it? But not big dip and spit in COVID, wasn't
it? Yeah, this was like Christmas.
Was it?
Yeah.
Sounds like a class Christmas to me, dipping spit.
Yeah, no, it was, but you get it's got like an app, and it just gives you a massive report of everything. What areas you're more likely to, even stuff like you're more likely to get injured for these sort of things genetically. It's really interesting, so I'd recommend it to anyone. But yeah, it could be some really simple, like you could be lactose intolerant and you don't know, and things like that.
No, I'm not doing it, mate. I'm not being funny. If it tells me I can't eat something, I'll be raging. So not having it. And if it comes back saying, "Oh, you're really sensitive to doner kebabs," I'll be like, "Not happening." I love it.
James, I've got a question for you, because obviously you play for Gateshead, and it's no disrespect to Gateshead, obviously.
Who's he play for, Matt?
Gateshead, not Northampton. But it's obviously at the Div 2 level. Let's be honest, it's not as taken serious. You've not got the same level of guys doing the same level of things. Do you personally just rely on size and ability, or do you go the extra mile? And then subsequently, second question for you: how hard is it to motivate other guys to do that?
So my recovery, I wake up on a Monday morning, cool shower straight away, and then I'll probably go work, and then I'll Farah or Theragun. I don't know, different people pronounce it.
Yeah, Theragun, yeah.
So I've got one of them, and then I've got a vibrating foam roller as well, and then I've got 2 tennis balls as well for like me back, my calves, and my feet. So that's my recovery. And then I'll probably just eat like a tuna sandwich or something for me tea.
Sorry, just on the Theragun bit, what you're saying, there's actually a voucher one which is like 35 quid. It's really good.
Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, same. It's awesome. Yeah,
a game changer.
It's great. It's great for being a bigger guy as well, because you're like, I don't want to roll around on the floor, so you can just like do your shoulders and that. But like team wise, there's a good few on my team that like are big into recovery, big into stretching. Some of the bigger guys, definitely. But I think I think some people, obviously it's more for the social aspect, but for the majority of my team, I'd say would do play to win sort of thing, because that's why you play it.
Yeah.
I mean,
we still do have beers on the bus, because we do go to long journeys, and we do get very drunk.
If
and
anyone's sitting quiet on a trip back from Aberdeen, they're lying. They're lying.
No,
I mean,
no
not,
comment
not,
on that. No comment on that.
not everyone gets dressed up and comes back on the bus from Aberdeen, but
And
that's
MCs
different.
on the bus back.
Wait, Gates are in Division 2 now.
Yeah, mate, we got relegated.
Oh damn, that's a shame. Sorry to hear that.
Too many beers on the bloody bus back.
Too many beers on the bus back from Aberdeen. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that was actually. You know what it is, right? We got. To be fair, the last season that we got to play was we had like a pretty injury-stricken season. I mean, I was in a QB at one point.
We had 6 games off the bounce, so.
I know.
6
I know.
games.
Cheers, Buffer.
No Buffer.
Let's see. Yeah,
Don't
6
forget
games on the bounce.
Don't forget we work for
ways.
Buffer.
No, it's Bath Car we do, man. So cheers, Buffer.
We work for them all. Thanks for down memes. Always a pleasure.
10 games both ways is good fun. But I'm only 23,
Oh,
so
damn.
I feel like everyone else is maybe a little bit older. So you
Watch
see
yourself.
on your recovery. Maybe so everyone seems a little. Well, when I was playing, I was 23. But I'll be 24 coming up. When I'm playing, but I feel like when everyone's older, I feel like your recovery intensifies more. So
I find it's when you stop playing. That's the worst. I think I did I think 7 years of uni and senior ball back to back. I spent too long at uni. I could technically be a doctor, but it's when I stopped. That's when I never got injured. Everything fine. But when I stopped, then suddenly I just started falling apart.
Right, you think that's bad? Here's a story, right? And we're getting off topic here, but we were doing an O-line, just coming out of your stance, hitting the bar, that a basic drill. I slipped when I was holding the bag. I slipped and broke my back.
It's pretty bad.
My spine literally done this. So I slipped my back leg moved apart.
So
and then the spine.
So you broke
you
your
were
wrist
holding
playing.
a bag and you broke your back. You tried to grip someone and broke your wrist. You probably should have played again, to be honest.
I'm never playing again, mate. I'm done.
Don't do one of those tests what Leiden's offering.
Yeah.
No, because
it's susceptible to back breaking. Yeah.
I will eat a kebab and break me back again. Don't care. The kebabs are too good up here, mate.
Oh, that totally beats my story. My worst is I tore my VMO jumping up and down celebrating a touchdown as a coach.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So I've got a good question here. Speaking of good coaches,
wait there, mate. Look, you just totally missed them. CJ, what were you going to say there, mate? Because I seen you come over to say something, and Mike just interrupted you.
No, sorry, I was just
Handbags
I was just shocked by all the different injuries. But I was going to say another big one that we don't get taught about is spinal decompression. That is extremely important, especially if you're playing at a higher level and you're lifting heavy. You're doing so. One of my biggest downfalls is that I should be running and sprinting as an athlete, but I don't do any of that just because number one, I don't have a sprinting coach, and number two, I don't like to run anyway. But I think one of the biggest things is spinal decompression, just hanging on a bar and for 30 seconds, just letting gravity do you know where I'm coming from? Because all that let gravity do the work. All the actual loading you're doing from playing games and lifting, it will just lead to disc herniations and that's a tough injury to recover from as well. Especially if you've experienced one. So I think spinal decompressions, just from personal experience, people got to start doing them, especially if you play this game, especially in the trenches as well. Yeah, man, loosen up that back.
Tips for that then, CJ? Is that just like you said, just 30 seconds on a bar, hang
like a bat?
You can get the rope attachment on the cable pulley, put it to about chest height, and just lean over and hold it like that with some weight on it, and it'll just pull from that angle. It'll decompress your spine.
There's loads of different techniques. I'm not a PT. So I'm not going to tell anyone about nutrition or all these different therapies. But go on YouTube, go on YouTube, look at different techniques, and just do what works for you. So for me, there's Keanu's technique, but for me, hanging on a bar has literally always worked. I think someone just said it in the comments as well. It's really good for your shoulders. So the reason why I can do like 8 pull-ups at 150 kilos is because I've been doing spinal decompressions for a long time. That like my upper body muscles just get conditioned, and I just started doing this for fun. So yeah, man, spinal decompression.
Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, it's a really good point.
I thought you were going to write, Mike. You're not allowed to bring up anything that's just been sent to in the inbox. By the way,
I'm not going to.
That's all right.
Your opinions. I'll give you a chance now to. Apart from James, you're not allowed because no one wants to hear Adam's head getting any bigger. I'll give you a chance to shout out any special coaches or influences on you guys, or who are the best O-line, D-line coaches in the UK. Has anyone got any?
Blyden, you give us the group that you've been working with. Let me know.
Okay.
Blyden's obviously one.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't all jump at my name once. Thanks, guys. Cheers. I'd say, Gav Collins is always going to be sort of top of my list just because of what he does and how much he puts into it. Is literally his full-time job at the NFL Academy. But I mean, with that sort of group we had there was like Paul Sherratt. We did have JB Wells on there as well, which was just good fun.
Love
JB.
Love JB.
We had Carl, Paul Cooper as well. I mean, I suppose my exposure is a bit more southern than everyone else, but I think they're very few and far between in terms of the O-line coaches out there.
Do I take silence in the room as there just isn't as many elite ones, or
I would say I would say 2 of the best coaches I've had the pleasure of being taught by was strictly speaking, an offensive line coach, as far as I knew, from the University of Warwick, called Pete Buckley. He's out now in Canada, still coaching out there. And also Jason Scott, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Yeah. I think Pete Buckley also then was coaching the D-line at Tamworth years ago, even before I started there. But I've learned a lot of things from both of those guys. But again, this is why I wanted to make it real clear earlier that I wasn't throwing shade on coaches in the UK, because I have been taught by some really bad coaches, don't get me wrong. But those 2 guys are, particularly good. I've learned a lot of technical things, which up until that point I hadn't been shown. As I say, I was getting it by out athleting people. But yeah, 2 very good coaches.
Yeah, the only two that come to mind, I always put them as 2, and it's Adam Lilly and Tim Mulliner from Sheffield. Both great players, really good coaches. But yeah, that was when I played at Yorkshire. But I said, even in Manchester, we still struggle to get a decent offensive line coach who'll stick around, who hasn't been a player. And I think they are hard to come by, aren't they? Really elite coaches at this level.
Sure.
I think Ben Johnson, he's a good coach. He was a good offensive line coach. He was at Vikings and things for a bit. He was a good coach.
Do you think? And sorry, CJ, go on.
All right, so I can only talk on who's coached me. So so when I first started playing this game, like, I wasn't the best athlete. I'm still not the best athlete. Like the best defensive lineman in the country thing was a joke. I think I can hold my own, but there are others that are naturally. So that's the thing. I think there are a lot of people in this game that are just naturally better at this game. Like just in all actuality, they're just really good at it. But I think the coaches that made me who I am. So I'm wondering if you guys know of him. He coached up north, Nathan Dealey, Coach Nath.
Yeah.
So it's a trifle. So Mike, you'd know about him, but he taught me like the basics of this game, and then I still talk to him. Like whenever he sees me play, like online, if there's a stream, he will break down every single play for me and what I did wrong. So like I really do appreciate that. Then I had Coach John Moore, who actually taught me how to play O-line properly. He's the head coach at Kent Exiles. Then after that, I had a really good coach. He coaches out in California. Coach Navarro. So I think he's the only reason why I can still like get a starting spot at D-line. And then the coaches at the Blitz, like, and this isn't like an ad or anything, but like the coaching at the Blitz, I think is like in this game, it's the best coaching. Haha. Thanks, Martin. It's the best coaching I've ever received. Like they are so critical on everything. Like they will watch your handwork, your footwork, your explosion, your assignment, execution, alignment, and they will say they will tell you you cannot do this in the game. Like if you continue to do this, like they will force you to get better. So I've been really lucky in my football career where not being the best athlete, I've had some really, really good coaches who can just like do like just some work on the nitpicky things in my game. So yeah.
Myself, I've had some good coaches in the UK, but not necessarily offensive line, defensive line coaches. I've been coached by offensive line coach from Germany, and he actually used to ring me after games in Sweden and tell me what I did wrong, how to get better. Like I'm talking like 10 minutes after the game, he'd be on the phone telling me, "Okay, Jack, you did this wrong, you did this, you do this." I was like, "Yes, coach, I understand." Also, Lee Rowland, he coached at the Olympians at one time. Don't know if you guys know, he was head coach for the now defunct German Knights. He was also in Swaco.
Yeah.
So I've coached him by a little bit as well. So he's a really, really good British coach, one of the best we have.
James doesn't get a turn.
Yeah, I forgot about that. James doesn't get a turn.
I'll see you. That's right, probably.
Exactly. That's why you don't get a turn.
I can't believe you know that. I thought you were with Davey Wilson.
Yeah, I'd say. Davey
Wilson.
Davey Wilson. He's O-line, O-line wise. Considering I don't think he ever played O-line. He's a good.
But he definitely didn't play O-line. He was a receiver.
Definitely didn't play O-line.
He was a receiver.
Was he a DB?
Oh, DB. Yeah, he was a DB.
I'm sure he played DB.
He played somewhere.
One of those out of the box people.
Yeah, he was skinny, mate.
Go on, mate. I think you had a question.
No, it's all right. You can butt in again. It's fine. Go on, crack on.
No, but my question was only going to be if you was to focus on one thing to tell somebody moving forward, if they was picking up a position or anything like that, what would it be? So for me, I think one of the most underrated things as an offensive lineman that I've learned is a lot about wrist strength. So I've spent a lot of time in the past strengthening my wrists because if not in that way, but if I get them,
is that what you told them?
I have a full-time girlfriend.
I've got to beat Tamworth.
So I've set myself up for that. But I've spent a lot of time kind of like on a boxing bag and trying to really strengthen my wrists, and I tape them pre-game, and I put a lot of stuff because I feel like as an offensive lineman, that's one thing that if they go, and a lot of the time I'm giving the defensive line leverage, so keeping them as strong as possible. And that's something I didn't ever get taught other than that was me learning that, if that makes sense. Yeah, clip it. Yeah, I wank a lot.
Exclamation point, clip.
Yeah. So that was, if I was to, do it again, that would be something I'd work on a lot. Being younger and stuff, I suppose I'd have more time to do that. But yeah, so that'd be one of those things.
Gone.
It's
gone. The chat is gone. Everyone's just seen your debut for the changing rooms. Oh, the chat is destroyed.
If any of you guys got changed with that guy in the changing room, you'd also be dangerous, let me tell you.
Get off my comments.
He looks like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. He's something else. But yeah, no, so for me, that would be like kind of the unhidden kind of things. What about you guys? Anyone just get me out of this?
So Mike, are you saying...
Question again, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, like,
say the question again.
If you was to do it again, if you was to start again, what like hidden thing would you work on that you probably only knew by playing? So, for me, again, like I'm saying, mine would be wrist strength because I felt like I only developed that a couple of years afterwards, an understanding of that. Whereas, what about you guys? If you could start again, what would you coach or teach yourself earlier on?
Stance.
Do a lot more single leg movements in the gym, I'd say.
Yeah, that's big.
Because we're always almost playing off one leg rather than two. So you see a lot of people doing a lot of squats and deadlifts. Obviously, it's important to build a basic strength, but a lot of people don't do a lot of unilateral work. So you weak on like when you got one. You have a lot of times you got like one foot in the air, so you're weak, and if you get hit, then you have no base. So I started last year or so. I've started doing a lot more single leg work, single leg squats, single leg deadlifts, and I think it's really improved my game and improved my speed as well.
Yeah, I really, that's a really good point. Sorry to interrupt there, but like that's one of the things I saw in a video last year of a young kid who, when he was going back in his pass set, he was starting from one knee because obviously, so he had his right leg, obviously his left leg in knee on the floor, and it was just teaching to really, because I mean I didn't even realize I'd played for nearly 10 years.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
When I go back in my pass set, I would just push off my back foot. Whereas that made a massive difference for me.
Oh, no, you've got to push off your front foot.
But unless you get told that, or unless you see that, it's just it's naturally easier to go off your back foot, isn't it? Because usually your weight's there or whatever. You're in a 2-point stance, so it was weird just seeing that and then realize, oh, actually, well, if I and then just did a load of work, like you said, on a single leg, so it really helped that. So that's
that was a real big, like, mind-blowing thing for me. That's the exact same thing, pushing off one leg onto the other. But yeah, that working the right foot, correct foot, should I say?
How did you? I'm trying to think how you would.
I mean, there are two things for me. Just while there's dead time, stance is and doing both sided stances as well. Because my left-handed stance is fucking terrible. Because I started off playing right-handed and just never learned it quite as well. So I'd go back and make sure both of them are the same, but also knowing how to be in a stance properly and why the stance is important. Because if your stance is fucked, then everything else is fucked afterwards. So just making sure that's right. And yeah, I've completely forgotten the second thing that I was going to say. So we'll just go with that. I'll come back to it.
Wrist strength.
I would say for me, it would be learning the full repertoire of techniques that there are available earlier as possible and becoming a technician in each of them. Because, again, as I say, when I first started out, I wasn't taught much. So I just relied on just getting past people quick. And having done martial arts, I had like fluid hips and I can move my body quite well. But there was no sort of official football technique involved. It was just me just doing what felt natural to get by. And obviously, as we've already said previously, when you go to the next stage, alone isn't going to cut it. So I feel like if I was to go back and do it again, I'd go down and try and become a technician much earlier. Yeah, that'd be me.
For me, I'd say humility goes a long way in this game. In every single faction of it. I mean, I used to struggle with that a lot because I had serious growth spurts when I was in uni, and by third year, no one could tell me anything. You go into senior, you go into senior, it's very different. I mean, you've got grown men trying to crack your skull in a nicer sense. So I'd say humility gets you a long way from literally just being able to listen to reason. Understanding why you're being benched. When a coach is telling you you're not good enough, get better. Work on your body, work on yourself. Understanding it's not coming from a place of malice, but some coaches are there, not all, but hopefully most coaches are there to help you develop. So I'd say, just be humble and listen, man. And it gets you really far. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's really important to be coachable, definitely.
James, what would you do?
I feel like I'm just starting off. When I was younger, I didn't used to tape my ankles on my wrists, and now they're knackered. So tape your wrist, like what Mike said, definitely. Also, I don't know who tapes ankles. Does anyone tape ankles?
I tape ankles every game. But I also started doing more foot strengthening and ankle strengthening. I think it's important because obviously feet touching the ground every play. So get on that. There's a lot of YouTube videos you're watching about foot strength and ankle strength. So I'll definitely get on that.
Definitely. Take my ankles, definitely my shoulders as well. I feel like I've got broken shoulders and I'm only 24. I don't know if that's something to do with rugby and playing American football as well. But I feel like my shoulders are done pretty much.
I was going to say, yeah, because I reckon I could play offensive line without shoulder pads on. Like, I don't know. I don't. That's one of the things for me. I just don't think anyone ever touches the shoulder pads.
You used to have to do pass protection drills without a lid on for that reason, that you had to use your hands. I've been made to do that before, which is great fun.
We've had that question come in. How many of you used a blocking sled as an O-line coach? It's a grade 2.
I have one.
I haven't used it.
Yeah.
So go on.
No, I was just going to say I have one. There are uses for it because I've got one, but I don't think it's essential. I'd rather have some medicine balls, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think you know what it is? Seeing the medicine ball drills that Pride do, I like that idea, but I love our sled.
They look very familiar.
The sled's pretty cool, but I don't know if I'd say it's essential.
I wouldn't say it's essential, but I'd say it's, especially if you've got someone that's all technique, and then they're able to put it against the sled and then realise.
I just like to see that aggression come out.
Yeah.
Would you say that's something that you can't utilise with a medicine ball?
I wouldn't. For me, I was going to say, I don't need any of it. I just need another body. I've never liked anything. I don't like pads. I don't like anything. I just like to physically feel it on the pads because it's different and it moves a little bit different. And your hands slip off.
A more natural fit. Like it's more.
Can I ask
like,
a question?
Yeah.
Sorry. So can I ask a quick question? So I've never used a sled before, right? So my question would be like, if you're not teaching technique, what's the point of using one?
I get that.
Is it for that aggression? Or so I think someone said you want to see that aggression.
That was me.
So but if there's nothing coming back at you, what's the point?
It's because
I'm just being critical of it.
No, we have a weighted sled, so it's the actual physicality of moving the sled is what we're trying to get from there.
So I'm just learning. I'm learning because I used to think they were pointless.
No, I get that. There is a lot of people I think that's, but the way that we have our sled, we've got a 2-man sled. So imagine you've got it here, and we do a lot of. We basically use it as like a gap technique, and we'll have our double teams come down and fire and hit one part of the sled. It's in the shape of a man, obviously. It comes down, and then you can twist the sled one way. You both attack a shoulder, and that's the reason that we do that. It's more. I like hearing that noise. I like seeing where the hand placement are. For me, normally I'll have the whistle there, whistle it in, and then I'll whistle for them to freeze, and I want to see where the hands are placed, and they've got to be sat in their stance, and I can see it better than on a person that normally. You know what it's like when someone's either holding a bag or fitting up, and they're just getting a block taken. They normally like step away after the drill. The sled's not going to do that.
Also, you can see the hip pop as well.
Yeah,
properly, the hip extension from when you hear it pop the sled pop up, you'll see people get proper hip extension and drive. Also, it's good, really good for that.
That'd be the extent for me. But then I feel like you could do that from you. Like, I would just get on my knees and do that, and just get them used to exploding up into maybe a bag or somebody arched over them. I don't know.
It's all about the. Isn't it?
I've never used it, but I can't. I think like if I was ever blocking Wayne, I would never see his chest anyway. So I'm never blocking Wayne's chest. I'm never getting that full arm extension on someone like him, even on Charles. Both guys like to get skinny and give you half a man to block. So I'd rather focus on blocking a hip or blocking into ribs or blocking arm across. Or I don't know. Again, I've never.
I get what you're saying, but surely there'll be times when you'll have a man heads up over the top of you, and your aim is to drive him straight back. Like very rarely. I mean, that's maybe me playing guard. How many teams genuinely play a 2-tech? No,
not enough, sadly.
Yeah, not enough.
Very rare. And even if there was a 2-tech, I'd probably take half a step and drive half a man, because getting a good angle on someone for me is better than.
It's half the battle, isn't it? Yeah.
It's all scheme as well, though, isn't it? Like that's not. Your scheme should make your life easier.
Yeah. You still want those hips work though.
Yeah, exactly. My other thing that I shouldn't have remembered, which is terrible, was I spent 10 years being told to block people with your thumbs up, which is wrong.
Put your thumbs up, have a good time.
Should be blocking people with your thumbs out because it makes such a massive difference. Take the shoulder out of it. Get your, make your elbows an extension of your rib cage. Literally, the best way I can show it is at training. I get someone who's maybe like the smallest running back on the team, or DB, they're normally the worst, and thumb out, elbow in, and literally my whole weight just being sat on this tiny guy's arm, and he can block me with one hand. It's the best visual blocking thing you can do, and that's just the difference from thumb up to thumb out. It's nuts. So that would be my real big thing.
And also, it kind of tucks your elbows in as well, so you're not.
Yeah. So when you the more pressure you get, the more torque you apply.
And also your hand placement will be closer in as well, just because the way you're able to tuck that. Yeah, that's really good technique. Yeah.
See that? I'm CFL approved. There you go.
It's a good cue as well, isn't it? I think that's a good cue for anyone who's trying to receive that information from a coach as well, to tell them to have the thumb sticking out, because it tucks the elbow in, and as you say, makes an extension of the rib cage. I think that's a really good cue, so you can get information across pretty effectively.
It's more natural as well, really, isn't it? Like, I don't understand why. You know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah. It was even to the point I don't use the word punch, because that denotes like an overarm movement. Just from like your verbiage sort of thing, you can shoot yourself in the foot. But
so
yeah,
what would you
strike, because then it's more sort of open-handed, thumb out, just little things like that.
I like that quite a lot.
I like that, yeah.
You're welcome.
I might steal that.
I think you're teaching the Britball community too much, and I would like to dominate this year.
No, and again, that's the point. I suppose it's a great point, Lydon. But I think there's lots of that. You can break down everything. I watched an hour and a half video the other day about how to actually execute a pancake. So not just being better than the man in front of you, but how to physically, at what point, technique-wise, to actually execute that. And that was what I mean by that is every single point isn't just let's watch a couple of stance lineman drills. You can really drill down into that. And I'm hoping this year it results in more pancakes for me. And that's
yeah, I think there's the danger of, I call it like YouTube coaching, where people see this stuff and they go, oh, it looks really cool, we should do this. And I was like, yeah, but you're not NCAA or NFL athletes that do this day in, day out. So I think you've got to take it with a pinch of salt with some stuff.
Yeah, Keanu, you do what you want, mate. You're good one.
Keep that in mind. Actually, I've YouTube's coaching. I've actually been getting a lot off the internet in the last year or so. I subscribed to this. Do you know who guys know Paul Alexander is?
Yes. Yeah, he was at the BAFTA convention.
Bengals offensive line coach for a long time, and he taught like Willie Anderson, what's his name, Andrew Whitworth, Kevin Zeitler. So he's really good.
Also plays the piano apparently as well.
Yeah, plays the piano very well. And I've been following a lot of his stuff, and he's kind of not reset the way I've done pass protection, but he's taught me a lot in different ways how to pass protect, and I think the game's definitely got better. Just because of watching these things and watching his YouTube videos and watching his coaching clinics, and he gets other coaches on, and it's a really great tool. So if I could maybe give one tool to coaches out there, is follow him. And I'm not even sponsored by him or anything, so this is just
not yet.
So
come on, sponsor him.
A really quick one. I don't want to waste anyone's time, but just on that. So I know Paul Alexander did it at the BAFTA convention. He's got his drill with the pole, where you got the pole across your top of your shoulders, and then when you're doing your footwork, it tells you whether you're dipping or turning your hips and things like that. So I kind of liked that, but I just didn't think it was realistic, because when do you play O-line like this? And don't get me wrong, he's an NFL coach, but if you do the same thing but put it in your elbows and then sit it under your pads, you've got exactly the same points of reference of whether you're turning your hips or sort of dip in either way. But it's a more natural body position that you're in when you're pass setting. So you get
Got a better one for you. Got an even better thing you can do.
There we go.
There's the little donuts that you can get, the little tackle donuts.
Yeah.
You can get the really small kids ones, right? And they never come. They always come in handy. You can use them for anything. But we lock them round the back, and then you've got to squeeze your elbows in as well. So you're squeezing your elbows in and coming out of your pass set that way, like, or you're coming into your stance, or you're locking your hands in when you're going to hit a bag. And you've got this. It's not a rubber ring, but like a foam ring behind you that's locking you and keeping your chest out as well, and it's keeping you at the right height. Try that.
Yeah, the difference with the poles, though, obviously, because it extends way out past your shoulders.
Yeah.
You can see whether you're sort of tipping up and down or turning side to side.
These rings do. It comes round the back of you. It'll be probably about that far out from you, but you're locking it in and trying to squeeze the inside because it comes underneath your arm.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get a picture of it.
Send me that. That'd be cool.
We'll have a video.
I do that a pole drill. To be honest, it's led to me being a lot more square in my pass sets now.
Yeah, but
I like it. I just think it can be tweaked.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Keanu. What are your thoughts on chest up blocking though? Because that's not something, from an offensive line perspective. I'm never very chest up and presenting that to a defensive lineman. What about you?
Do you know what? I mean, so offensive line coaches argue about this all the time, but you have to have a flat back firing out and all this. I know sometimes you just got to do what feels comfortable all the time, but you mean chest up when I'm run blocking or pass setting? Or both?
I think more pass set, because I think run block, I don't think you're really going to be chest up, are you?
No. In my pass sets, I guess my chest is up. Okay, I guess my chest is up, yeah, but yeah, I guess it is up. But I like I said, from Paul Alexander, I've done something a little different now. I don't two-hand punch anymore, really.
Yeah,
I thought two-hand punching, and it's like one at a
Single
time.
hand striking, you mean?
Yeah. Striking. Yeah, I mean, I'm not two-hand striking anymore. I'm one-hand striking a lot more, and so I think that's helpful in slowing down rushes.
Can I ask? Just for my personal I don't know, just my personal knowledge. Can I ask why? Because for me, I don't know about you, Wayne, but if an offensive lineman shows me his chest, I'm gonna grab your shirt. I'm gonna give the surface area that you give me, and I'm gonna try and manipulate that. So will one arm striking change that? Or
we're not ever going to be in unless you're head up, we're not going to be in a face-to-face situation. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, shaded, right?
I'm gonna take my knee to your crotch and cut you in half.
Shade,
Exactly. So I'm at the way my chest is not going to be easy to get. Do you know what I mean? If you bull rush me, that's easy for me. If you tackle, you bull rushing me. If you bull rushing me as an end, then it gives the quarterback more time. So if you bull rush me, I'll take a bull rush all day. To be honest, all I do is double under or one hand high hand, low hand, hop, and then that's a good rep for me. Do you know what I mean? If you bull rush me, it's when you start doing other stuff.
Yeah, I'm dragging you down. I'm grabbing your lapels and you're coming down.
I don't two-hand punch either, not at all, ever, because I'm so long that I'll have if someone comes inside a bull rush, then I'll have time to bring the other hand up. I'll never ever two-hand punch, because if I have two-hand punch and then he goes inside.
It throws you off balance as well, and also a lot of times when people two-hand punch, they end up putting their head forward
lunge,
rather than getting your head back. Yeah.
James,
should be going back when you're setting.
I've got you some brownie points when you come to training, just for saying that. Well done, mate. Thank you. There we go. Brownie points for Sunday. You can say punch with me, mate. Do whatever you want.
But like Charles, my chest is not really available because my hands are there also. Like my hands are ready, so people don't really come into my chest stuff. I'm 6'6". I think.
Obviously, so it's obviously it's a different level, but most of the guys I'm playing, they're 6'2", maybe 6'4", the odd one. So I've got long arms, so I can just pin him. If I can pin him there on his first outside rush, then I know I've got him sometimes for the majority of the game. But then that's why I'm practicing my weight transition, because then if he goes outside first, then comes inside, then that's where I have problems sometimes.
Part of it is I'm stealing more stuff from Paul Alexander. I hope you guys don't mind.
No, you're good.
So we're trying to block people before we get to a set point. Like in your mind, before the snap, depending where the guy is shaded on you, you think about getting to set point, and then you can do something. Do you know what I mean? But people are trying to block while the feet are still in the air. Do you know what I mean? And then that's what's happening. So you get your set point, and then it all happens so fast. Like don't take a second, but you're taking a moment to read your defender. And he teaches the outside shoulder, outside arm read, and I think that's helped me a lot. Get every time. So say we've got a 7 technique or a 9 technique, yeah. In fact, no, just guy outside. Still call it a 7, yeah. So he's not on me. I'll take 2. I'm giving away a lot of free game now. I'll take
a bit too much free game, but.
Yeah. I'll take 4 steps, or kicks, drive, catch, kick, slide, whatever you want to call the terminology you want to use, and get to my set point, and I'll still be square. That's the most important thing, is staying square. You need to keep that inside foot straight, so you square, and then so that stops him having a two-way goal. So always, if he's rushing, so say Wayne, if you're rushing and the guy is the offensive lineman is completely square, does it make your decision harder or what?
I mean, if I want to make an inside move, it's going to be more difficult. I think the outside move's easier. I mean, if the guy turns you, so if that guy turns, I suppose that's an invite to cut inside, right? Take the inside arm and then either club or then swim over, or whatever it might be.
Democracy. Don't give him a choice.
Yeah. So
precisely. Yeah. I think
try to stay square as long as possible,
and
then make him make a decision. Once he makes a decision, you know what to do. Essentially,
he
keeps going outside. You take another step, and then you kind of ride him out. I can't remember what the original was talking about.
Conversation.
Hitting with that one hand as well gives you that. Oh, sorry, what were we saying? Striking with that one hand. There you go. So if you're striking with that one hand, that outside hand, and you've got the other hand loaded inside, if he wants to come back, he's basically going to try and swim with 2 hands to get past you. Realistically, and you're going to get a free shot at this, ideally this location, with that extra hand coming up and under. So once
it's the pin hand inside.
Yeah, so you can then, basically, it's like one of them. You know what I mean? Just you've got that hand there in a nice big open target to hit, and then it gives you that chance to give you that little drop again, and you've reset. So. I always teach the one hand technique. I don't like the two strikes. Well, 2 hand strikers we're going to go with now. I need a change from punch. I
think from what I've realised, it knocks off when I one hand strike. I think it knocks off older generational, because they're used to 2 hands coming at them. Where if you're not the one and you've got this one inside, then they don't even realise it, because when first few players, someone's coming out, and then they'll be thinking 2 hand strike. So I've got them for first 6-7 players, and then they'll realise that I'm 1 hand striking.
It's taking 6 or 7 plays for them to realise that might be an issue.
You know what it is.
So I just want to make one thing clear. Sorry, real quick. Both hands are still touching you. Do you know what I mean? Like both hands are touching
but they're
you.
not.
It's not consecutively lunging anymore. I'm attacking outside shoulder most of the time with the outside hand, and inside hand is fitting underneath the rib cage.
I always try to tell people, it's probably gonna make it sound stupid when I say this, but it's like, imagine a goalkeeper going for a ball in the top corner. You can reach it. You hear for receivers as well, receiver coach saying if you can reach it with 1 hand, you can reach it with 2. It's a load of shite, right? So it's absolute shite. So just imagine you've stretched up with this 1 hand here, and you can reach a certain distance. It's the same if you're punching out here. If you're coming out and you're kicking, you've got that hand out wherever you're going. This other hand's just a fit. It's just there. It's just, you're just guiding. You just think, go on, mate, crack on. Just a little.
Yeah, I always want my inside, any hand on the hip.
Yeah,
because it for me, it gets me half a man. But
well, we mentioned it at the start when I asked the first question of the show, when it was hands or feet, hips were brought into it straight away. So if you're controlling that hip, they can't do that. Do you know what I mean? It's game over.
And it's like that's the last thing I ever want to give. Maybe because I play guard, I've got a bit more of an advantage. I don't. But the last thing I ever want to give is my hands to a defensive lineman, because interior D lineman, I always find want that so much.
I was gonna say the conversation that Wayne and Keanu were having, like, it sounds like a lot of it is for the outside work of the line of scrimmage, because the inside's completely different. It's very different.
It's different, but I wouldn't say it's completely different. Do you know what I mean?
It's not completely. Yeah, it's different. But I mean, most times I'm expecting 2 hands. I'm expecting four. I'm expecting four hands. Like sometimes, depending on where I'm playing. Do you know where I'm coming from?
When he's seeing the technique, he's not putting both on in the same sort of normal. Here, it's going to be one up and one's going to be down. Do you know what I mean? That's why it's a different level. So if you're swiping one hand away, you've still got one. You've still got one hand on you at all times.
I can reapply as well.
Yeah. And it's always, you get D linemen being taught this whole, you've got the club and rip, you've got the swip. They can, if I've got one at different levels, that club move is completely irrelevant anyways. And I'm still going to rip and replace. I'm still going to fire out at different levels. And I've always got something on you at that point. Do you know what I mean? I'm always going to have something there, and I'm always going to be firing at you.
And the thing is, free techs are getting more and more athletic. So guards, a lot of the time, are going to have to set like tackles sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Just because how athletic free techs are now in the league, especially. So when you got people like Darnold and DeForest Buckner, just crazy athletes. So you see guys in 2-point stances now sometimes.
Well, I mean, even in the UK, like Charles plays a 3-tech out. Charles playing a 1-tech is scary for me because, and that's no disrespect, and that's probably blowing Charles smoke up Charles. Like Charles is a 3-tech.
He's the best D-line in the country, mate.
No, it's true.
Let's stop, please.
No, because I genuinely believe styles make fights. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm going against, I'm 5'10", short arm, really short arms. The last thing I want is a long, rangy 3 technique. Again, giving free game away, but I don't want long arms because Charles can get his arms out extended, and that's why I don't give mine, because I just have to keep resetting underneath, and he can just long arm me, so I don't want that. I would much rather face a small, stocky 1 technique or a 3-tech. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that I think I would just rather. Styles make fights massively.
Mike, the stockier 3-techs are probably the more difficult people to block, mate.
For me, I'm happy with that. Like genuinely, like legit, I'm more than happy. Like when we played the Warriors, I'd rather play against 95 than their long rangy 93. Like that's just me personally, but that's just the style making a fight.
So 95 is my good friend, and I think he's probably one of the better defensive linemen in the country. So he's not going to like that you said that. So
it doesn't bother me in the slightest. It doesn't bother me in the slightest because I would rather play against him, because that's just the style make fight. Warriors switched him to the other side against me because I was having a better day against him, because that's a style I like. Do you know what I mean? He's fine. He would go and batter the other guard. It's just I would rather play against someone like him who's a bit more of an explosive 3 technique than I would a longer, rangier. And I'm setting myself up for that this year. I'll probably face shitloads of long, rangy defensive tackles.
You will now, yeah.
Next will be the Prem Trenches cat fight.
We'll see Wayne playing a 3 technique this year. But yeah, again, it's just one of those things. It's just what you prefer, isn't it? Like, that's it. It's just that's what you prefer. You can't help that. And it's where you get your leverage and win. Good question, which came through to round up, I think, from Sam Bloomfield, was just best lineman you've played against in the UK.
In the UK,
Keanu, you can go just anywhere if you want.
Okay. Fuck it, with the else. Sorry, I didn't know. Am I allowed to swear on this show or what?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Fucking crack on.
Okay. The best lineman in the UK. I don't know his name. Is probably played. He played for Edinburgh Wolves. The best defensive lineman I've come across ever is probably Leighton Voss. Out of Voss. He played at USF. Yeah, or UCF. It's one of the and another guy called Kyle Kitchens, and both those guys were just like fast, strong, good technique. Do you know what I mean? So they gave me a few problems when I played them. So probably those 2 guys.
I would also agree with that. I think I don't know the numbers, but when I played Edinburgh Wolves, I had trouble with their end. The right end, maybe. I don't know if they switched, but I was having a bad day that day.
Was it that black guy?
Don't know. I can't. He was quick. He was
Is that
really
TJ?
quick.
Is that TJ?
He was really quick, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to catch him. Like, he was just so quick. But I had just started playing right tackle, so I was like, and he was really fast. And I was like, and then that's when I was like, yeah, being a big lad, I might have a couple of downfalls here against these small. He was definitely smaller than us, but yeah, that's what I struggled. Well, I had a great Edinburgh.
Wayne?
I would probably say, as an offensive tackle, I would say Tom Uthwaite from the Knights. He's very large. I mean, he's very tall. He's a big dude, and the guy is quick. He's, for a guy of his size, it's like he shouldn't be able to move that fast. And for guard, I would probably say Lewis Thomas from Tamworth Phoenix. I played with him in Saarland, and yeah, the guy's got. I don't know anyone with technique better than him. And he's still a young guy, and yeah, he's phenomenal player, very humble, and yeah, all round great guy.
CJ?
I've got a bit of a hit list of people I need to make sure I dominate next year. So these are all the guys that like sort of scared me, like sort of scared me. When I was, yeah. Listen, okay. So the list goes. So we've got Ibs Ahmed on my team. I think he's a right tackle. Dan Howard, centre. Yeah, both scare me. So I've got to dominate them at practice. Then we got at the Warriors. We got I don't know what the centre's name is, but the centre, the left guard and the right guard. I don't know. Yeah.
Warriors, the entire offensive line.
Yeah, and the Martin Connor plays right tackle.
I've only played. Yeah. Martin's a very, very scary player. Who else? And David Pemberton as well for those 3 plays in that Tamworth game. But those are literally the only guys that I've ever like said, shit, I need to step my game up. My man, sorry, but yeah, like those are the guys that have said like, crap, nothing's working. Like I've gone into panic mode. Yeah, so those guys. But it goes to show, man, humility. Like if another player can make you say that, you're never gonna stop working, are you? Like, yeah.
Leiden, which players stand out for you at the minute?
I mean, I was going to say I had my historic ones ready for my sort of thing. It's been a while since I sort of get to see sort of prem sort of games and things like that, other than on streams. And if they do, I don't know the names.
Why don't you plug the team that you're at now? Because you're at a team on you now. Plug some guys that are on the up and coming in your team.
I don't think they've earned that yet, if I'm entirely honest. If they know me as a coach yet, then I'm not just going to give everyone a free plug. They need to put in the work first.
Love that.
Fair.
That's tough.
No, I'd say you're going to have to earn it now. You want to plug? Leiden's coming back on here. You boys want to shout out. I love that. No, well, you can give a historic one if you want.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying the 2 for me were... JMO used to play for I don't know if he still plays for the Warriors, but he was, I think he was playing for Portsmouth that year when the Sun Devils still existed. And just massive, stupidly fast. All I could do was cut him, and then he just landed on my spine and tore a nerve in my back. So that was fun.
Oh, damn.
And then when the Knights came down from Prem to Div 1, and nobody on their D-line was shorter than 6'10", and I was probably the skinniest I've ever been. And I just were like, all I could do was hope for the best and just try and cut people and get in the way. But yeah, like you got like Tootle and Richard Rochester and just these gigantic human beings just throwing me around like a rag doll.
God damn.
But yeah.
Mike, what about you?
Insane.
That sounds like a tough day at the office, man. Jeez.
Yeah, 2 games as well. So, yeah, so.
Mike,
recovery is purporting after that one. Jeez.
Best lineman you've played against?
I know it's tough, isn't it? It's one of those. I'd back myself against most, but that's the way I play. I'd prefer not to play against Snowman again. He hit me so hard. Remy headbutted me so hard. I definitely got concussion. So yeah, I'd probably avoid playing him. I didn't like playing against Charles. I'll be honest. He had long arms. He was nasty, aggressive. But yeah, I think that might have been. Yeah, other than that, I'm good. I'm pretty happy. My biggest problem, I would say, before we finish, I play to their level. So my best game was against the Warriors. My best game last year in the games was against Tamworth. Like, I play to that level. Like, I love playing against Ash Miller, one of the best players in the country at D-line.
Yeah,
but
God damn.
But I love it. That's my favorite game of the year. Like, genuinely, like, because I know I'm playing against some of the best players. But yeah, that's just me.
And I'll give you the best lineman that I've coached. Okay,
James.
And nah, right. So best. I'm sorry, James. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the one for potential, right? And James will agree with us for this, right? And I know he will. I've got a lineman in my academy set up at the minute, which is he's gonna be an absolute freak. Kristen Hall, play anywhere on that offensive line, or I would say from center to guards, he is an absolute freak. He's like a big Samoan with his big long hair. He's just massive.
How old is he?
17.
He's still 17.
What's the kid from EKP called? He's a good player. Mark Stewart, is it?
Mark Stewart, D-line.
Yeah.
He's a good player, isn't he? He's a very good player.
Unbelievable.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So, are you expecting both of these kids to like do like some sort of NFL or CFL pathway program at some point in their careers?
Or go play college in the States.
Or go, yeah, exactly. Right. Is that what you're expecting of them?
I don't expect nothing of them. I'd let them make their expectations for themselves. If they want to set them as goals, I'll try my best to get them on that pathway and do what they need to do. But
in Adam's defense, he has got 2 QBs in the States. One in the Elite 11 competition. He's probably going to go Div 1. So, yeah, he sets them up for success.
Solid.
So.
Who's that?
Yeah. Justin Koala. How do you say his surname?
Koala.
Justin Koala is an elite.
He wasn't just my player though. He was coached by a few people, but he did play for my team.
Yeah.
But there's a new guy called Hussein. He's a 6'4" quarterback. He was on the show last week. He's been offered private school education. What's it called?
He's huge. He's so
Pennington High School or Pennington School? The Pennington School.
Pennington, yeah. He's got like size 14 feet or something, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But anyway, they're quarterbacks. They don't matter. Wayne wants to kill them. We don't matter. It don't matter. The linemen love. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you all on. Hopefully everyone watching has learned a little bit, and it was good just to see you all. And Keanu, good luck with everything with the CFL. I think Wayne, good luck with everything with the CFL. I know you've been working as well. James, good luck with the season. CJ, good luck with the guys who you're going to play against, and hopefully.
I just want to say before I leave, look, like I know I'm probably never going to be as good as Wayne or Keanu. Like I think we all have our own, like, I don't know. I'm coming from levels to this game, but I'll be damned if I don't win a championship and if I don't make the GB team. I'll be really annoyed. Like honestly, because that is what I'm working towards. So that is my ultimate goal. But yeah.
Get after it, man. Love that.
Get after it, man. Get after it big time. And James, I'm pretty sure if we do deep dive into those lower levels, and it's no disrespect, it's just where you play, you've definitely got a GB caliber player yourself there. So just keep going, mate.
James, man, I played D2. I played for the Leeds Bobcats.
Did you?
Hell yeah, I played for Bobcats, played for Sharks. So don't ever tell you where you played, Div 2, Div 1. That's end all be all.
Yeah, okay. I hear that, man. Where you are now doesn't mean that's where you should end up.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's what I was saying. Look, just keep doing it because you're a very high quality player. Yeah, Adam raves about you, and Leiden. Good luck with the season, and you guys. Hopefully, you get them a good run out, and it sounds that they're in very capable and good hands.
Honestly, I hope we can get all you guys back on again, and we'll do another alignment special if you're up for it at some point.
Yeah, 100%.
Give me a time.
Make it happen.
Keep going, guys. Absolute pleasure. See you later.
Cheers, chaps. Much appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.